Good morning and welcome to the Offer Accepted Show. My name is John Taylor and I am so glad that you could join us today for our show. Today Missy is out on the town and she's talking to Dennis Nutting about home inspection. Now in this energetic and dynamic market, home inspection and appraisals are getting set to the side, and it's important that we know how important they are. Dennis is going to walk us through what to look for and the things that he's seeing in homes so that you can have a good team in place, so when you get your offer accepted, you're getting a good deal and a home that you can appreciate. Kris is going to talk to us about WHEDA loans, and WHEDA is a great program for everyone here in Wisconsin to get a home. Very good for first-time home buyers, and we're going to walk through the process so you have everything you need so that you can get your WHEDA loan. And then in our neighborhood section, Missy is back out on the town with Rochelle from the Charity Food Drive, talking about how she's helping the community feed people in Waukesha. It's going to be a great episode, and this episode is brought to you by HomeWire Realty. Missy and her team over at HomeWire would like to get you into the home of your dreams, get your success story, and get you your offer accepted. So let's hear from Missy and Dennis.
We are here at home in West Allis today, and we're going to talk about home inspections and the importance of them. With this market, with it being a seller's market and a lot of competing offers, some buyers are being a little shy about having a home inspection. But we're here today with Dennis to talk about why you should still have that home inspection. So Dennis, tell me, how long have you been in the home inspection business?
Been in the home inspection business for about 22 years. Prior to that, I was in business with my father. We did heating and air conditioning, and I got into doing carpentry and that. So basically, I looked at a house for a friend of mine because he thought I knew something. And, so I went through it, and the realtor goes, "Hey, are you a home inspector?" And she goes, "You should, you're pretty knowledgeable." So that's kind of how I got involved with this home inspection business, and it became pretty much my occupation then at that point. Not only do I do home inspections, I do lead risk assessing, and I'm also in with the FHA under the 203K program. So, it's been
and not a lot of people do that part of it, the 203K. So what we're going to talk about today is importance of home inspections and different things we're going to look at. Can you tell me just a couple main things you look at as a home inspector?
Main things are, like the exterior, the siding, the roof, the foundation, things of that nature. So, when you look at that, you're looking for what's going to cost your client the most amount of money to be able to move into a house and not have to forego huge expenses after you get into the building. And that's what a home inspector does. He points, not only does he point out the major conditions of the property, but he's also going to put on some of the minor ones, and he's going to explain to you probably about what type of maintenance you need to do on pretty much a yearly, if not semi-yearly situation, to cleaning the gutters, to making sure your grading is pitched away from the house along with your walkway, things like that, so you don't have the foundation problems or roof leaking inside and causing problems with the drywall or plaster that's in there.
Right. With all the money we spend in a house, we don't want to come in and have to spend another 10, 20, 50,000.
I mean, let's face it, if someone moves into the house, they probably got in there and they gave their life savings into
for the
it,
down payment,
and then all of a sudden there's a $5,000 bill, and that's going to cost someone to go drinking that night.
Exactly. Well, let's go inside and take a look.
All right, let's head in.
So we're inside the main level of the home, actually right inside the living room. Dennis, when we're in the main living areas, what are you looking at as far as in the home inspection?
Basically, I develop a system that I've done as I go through the house. So I would be in the kitchen and go from the kitchen to bedrooms, living room, and then I'm looking at whatever plumbing fixtures that are in there. Are they functioning correctly? Does it have ground faults or outlets throughout the kitchen? Does it have regular outlets, and are they wired correctly in the rest of the living room, bedrooms, you know, like that? So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for any large cracking that's going on. Looking at when you walk, you know, how does a floor squeak, and when you walk on the floor, does it squeak up the wall?
I have clients that are annoyed by floor squeaks.
Oh yeah.
Like literally will not buy a house because the floor squeaks.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm sure that the teenager coming home late at night doesn't care for them either at all, you know. So, but yeah, it can be very, especially if you're up late at night and the kids are sleeping and you hear you know. So they, you know, it's a small thing, but becomes a little bit of an irritation for your client.
So do you like the home buyer to be along?
Oh, most definitely, because you know, when they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, them being there and you showing them is a good thing, because then when you do the report, so in my particular case, I do a report where you can put the pictures into the report itself, and then what happens is that not only did they see it when they were here, but they're familiar with it when they read the report, that picture's in there and it has an explanation exactly what's going on with it.
And you do an amazing report, but being here is way more important.
Yes, most definitely.
For sure.
Most definitely. And an amazing report. You need to call my wife and let her know just about how amazing I am.
We'll let her know.
Yeah.
So this home obviously is getting rehabbed. Do you think something that has a lot of new things in it, or a new construction home, do you think they still need that home inspection?
Oh, for sure. They definitely do. Because you're buying a home that you don't know who the contractor was. You don't know if he pulled permits for it. So that's something that the home inspector, at least that's what I do. You know, I investigate to see were there permits pulled for it. Did they do everything correctly? You know, are they, you know, that's why when I get a house that's been recently rehabbed, you only really need to check a couple outlets in there, but I'll check all of them, because I had one where I looked in the bedroom, I checked all the outlets, they were wired perfectly. But then when I got to the rest of the rooms, they're all miswired. You know, so then, you know, whoever did the work they weren't knowledgeable enough to do that. It might have been not a licensed electrician that did that. So, you know, I'm looking for, when you're walking through there, that everything is functioning as best as it can be, or designed to, and then write the report at that particular point. The other condition you're going to look for is that you don't know if the house has been rehabbed and if it was been done correctly, so you want to really have it looked at very thoroughly at that point.
Right, so they're not hiding something.
Exactly.
Painting the walls all pretty in the basement and there's a huge crack underneath that.
Yeah, or they washed it all off and painted over it, so because there's a huge water stain or mold that was there at the point.
Right,
so
exactly.
Those are things that can become very costly also to the individual buying the house.
And speaking of basements, let's head down there. So we're downstairs in the basement, and I always like to start here actually when I'm showing homes, because a lot of things happen down in the basement. You got your foundation, you got the electrical panel, you got the mechanicals. So Dennis, when we're down here, what are we looking at?
Well, the first thing I'm going to head to is the electrical panel.
Which is right behind us.
Right behind us, and it's been updated. So this was the old box right here, which they consolidated so it meets current codes when you're doing that, and that's what I'm looking for. And was it done correctly? Is it grounded correctly? There's a lot that goes in there with it. So, that's where I'm going to start. Once I'm done with that, then I'm going to look at how the foundation floor is, the foundation wall, the piping, both freshwater piping and drain piping. So we want to make sure all of that's good. And this is where the money is, okay? So, when you come down here, you want to make sure your client feels confident enough that once you're done with it, that they don't have to worry about spending the $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 or more for having the foundation taken care of, or even the plumbing. I mean, if they have to do something with the plumbing, if it's older galvanized plumbing, that always rusts from the inside out. And then what happens is that you have a plumber that comes in here and then he's going to charge you $80, $90 an hour in today's rates. And if he's here 3 days, you know, that's $5,000–6,000, you know. So it goes back to what I said before. You know, they put as much money into as they possibly can, and then they still have to buy furniture and move and all that other things. You know, that becomes a heavy hit at $5,000.
Another reason, very important to have that home inspection.
Very important to have that home inspection.
So what about the walls? Are you measuring walls?
Yeah, right.
What do you do
Once,
with that?
once I come down here, I can either use what they call a plumb bob, or you can use a regular 4-foot level or a 6-foot level, and then put it on the floor and find out just what kind of displacement you might have in the wall, how much cracking is going on with the wall, you know, and my number is usually around 3/4 of an inch movement. We need to do something with that, but if there's a lot of cracking in the wall, 1/2 inch, even with a lot of cracking in the wall, you might want to call in a foundation consultant to verify that we're both talking about the same thing and where the cost is going to come in at that point.
Yes, very important. Anything else down here that you can think of that we look at?
We're going to look at like the joist, you know. Are they
The floor joists?
Yeah.
Is that the squeaky floors?
That's the squeaky floors, you betcha. You know, and you know that you have the joist, you have the floor, you can see the floor itself. Where the center support is. This is an older home, so they have to have a wood post on a concrete foundation, and then they have a wood beam that goes all the way across that hold the joist in place. So, you know, it's gravity. Everything comes down and has to be able to set and be supported when the house is built. So they have footings on all the foundation walls, plus they have the center, which keeps the center of the house from sagging down, the center support beam that's in there.
What about the HVAC and the water heater and those kinds of things? What are you looking at when you're inspecting those?
Well, you know, I'm going to look at the water heater. I'm going to see how old it is. Does it produce hot water? Is it leaking? Is it vented correctly? If it's a gas water heater, obviously electric, you don't have to worry about any ventilation at that point. Once I'm done looking at the water heater, I'm going to check the HVAC system, which would be your furnace and your air conditioner. And what I'm looking for is, again, age. How is it maintained? Does it function correctly? Like on an air conditioning, if the house does have air conditioning, I'll do a simple test where I put a thermometer in the supply side, and then on the return side I'll put another thermometer, and I want to see what the temperature difference is. In other words, is it cycling the air from the house back through again? So usually you want to be anywhere, in my case, you want to be anywhere between 16 and 22 degrees air change. So in other words, let's say that your supply air is at 80 degrees when it goes up there, and when it comes back it's at 100. So I have a 20-degree difference, which is good because it's moving around. If I'm only having a 10-degree difference, that means that air is not moving through there. It's either not going to be heating correctly, or it's not going to be cooling correctly, especially on those 90-degree days. And it's, you know, it's a little irritating to begin with. Now it's really irritating,
yes,
because you figured you came in the house, it's going to be much cooler, and it's not.
Which leads me to something that I kind of know is that in the winter you can't test the air conditioner, right?
No, you cannot do it because pretty much, you know, and I put a statement in my report, says that if it hasn't gone above 65 degrees in a 24-hour period, we can't run it because you have the potential of damaging the compressor, and the compressor is all in motor are all housed in a single tank that's in the air conditioning system.
Okay, so the inspection's done. We have our report. The buyer and I are looking it over. What are the most important things we should be worried about? Because there's going to be a lot on that report.
There's going to be a lot of there, and it's going to be a lot of information, whether it be negative or positive, that's in there, and they need to look at that whole report. But if you go to the summary, there's going to be an area for major repair or replacement, potential hazard, deferred maintenance. In other words, things that within the next 5 years, you know, it may fail on you, or would be time for it to be replaced. and then regular maintenance. So I'll list what regular maintenance you should do, so it gives you kind of an idea what you should be looking for. But the two areas that you really want to key on would be the major repair or replacement. So again, going back to, is it the foundation that was a concern? Is it the electrical panel that was a concern? Which was all pointed out to the client at the time of the inspection. And then, we talked a little bit about it, but then I'll take that, put in my information with the picture based on what we talked about at the time of the inspection. And then if there's any more concerns about the report itself, just give me a call. If I'm not in inspection, I'll walk you through it and go from there.
Another thing to point out then is to go through that inspection with your buyer's agent. Have a good buyer's agent that knows what they're doing with those reports, knows what to ask for, knows how to negotiate. Thank you so much, Dennis, for joining us here today. I really appreciate all the great knowledge.
No, not a problem. I'm grateful for doing this for you.
And if someone wants to reach out to you, how would they get in touch with you? Phone, email?
Phone, email. They can reach me at, my email address would be d.nutting@att.net, or you can call me for an appointment at 414-303-5108. I also accept texts and,
in case you're up on a roof.
Yeah, in case I'm up on the roof. And it happens.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Today I want to sit down with Kris Wedinger from Fairway Independent Mortgage and talk about the hottest loan programs out there, what you need to get qualified, and how you can get your offer accepted with Kris over at Fairway Independent Mortgage. So what are the hot mortgage programs out there, the hot loan programs out there that we should know about?
One of the hottest ones that's out there today is called the WHEDA loan, and WHEDA stands for the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority. What it is, it allows you to purchase a house with no money down. It's a great first-time homebuyer loan, but you do not need to be a first-time homebuyer in order to purchase this house.
That is fantastic. So when you talk about 100% financing, what exactly is that? Closing costs also? Do I need zero cash, or what does that look like?
If you structure your deal right, you can purchase a house literally with no money down, with the exception if you want to spend money on home inspection and also your earnest money when you place the offer. So you want to be very specific when you're working with your loan officer and your real estate agent as far as how to structure that offer to purchase.
So what are some of the income guidelines? Do I need to be making a lot of money to do that, or how does that work?
WHEDA has a 3-tier system, and what I mean by that, there's 3 tiers of income, and each tier represents as far as for what county you want to purchase in. So each county has certain income limits. They also take a look at not only you need to qualify for the house as far as for that you want to get, but you also need to take a look at household income. If they're 18 or older, they're going to take a look at all income in that household, even though they're not going to be on that loan. So again, they're going to take a look at all household income and make sure that you meet that tier for that county that you're looking to purchase in. Again, there's 3 tiers in the program, so if you don't fit in one tier, hopefully you can fit in the other 2 tiers.
Are there any penalties or anything that I need to look out for? Can I buy the house and flip it, or how does that work?
For the WHEDA loan, there's no prepayment penalty, so you can prepay as much as you want to. Typically, there's what is called a recapture tax, and that's within the first 9 years. One may have to pay for that. And what is a recapture tax is paying back the federal government the benefits of a lower interest rate mortgage, because the WHEDA is off of a tax-exempt mortgage bond out there. But in essence, check with your loan officer to see if you can don't have to worry about that federal tax, because in certain situations you may be exempt from paying that. And again, it's within the first 9 years of owning that home.
Who qualifies for the WHEDA loans? Is it anybody, or self-employed, or do you have to have a certain amount of income?
Great question. So as long as you meet the income limits for that county, if you stay under that median income limit, and if you meet the income requirements, obviously we talked about that, and credit requirements, and as far as for reserve requirements, anybody could apply for that. Again, we have to take a look at the equal credit opportunity and make sure that, in essence, if you want to apply for that, can we get you qualified for that?
Mm-hmm. Great information. How can somebody get in touch with you to talk about a WHEDA loan and see if they qualify?
In essence, my information will be right on the screen. If not, 920-960-0852, and the 0852 is right up the middle.
All right. Well, hopefully we can get somebody's offer accepted with a WHEDA loan, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Hi, it's Missy Buttram with HomeWire Realty, and on today's neighborhood, we are here with Rochelle Gomoff. So Rochelle, tell us more about your organization and what is it called?
It's SEWI, Emergency Support Group, and we're here at South Minnesota Church every Thursday from 2 o'clock until 4:30, and we have a choice pantry each week.
So tell me, what does a choice pantry mean, and how is that different?
So I like to say that we cater to those individuals that may not qualify for the local pantry. Maybe they're the hardworking people out there that are living paycheck to paycheck that need a little extra support. So each week we have this choice pantry where people get to choose the items that they wish. We feel like it is less waste than a typical model of a pantry.
That's what I was kind of joking about, is sometimes you get that box at the pantry and you might get 4 cans of green beans and nobody in your house eats green beans.
Right.
So here you're setting up, and I mean, lots of great choices out here. How are you monitoring people so that they're not just taking a lot of things, and how does that whole process work?
They do get wristbands, so they can pick out for other families as well if they can't make it. And basically we go by how many people are in their family. So they get to choose, you know, if they have a family of 8, go ahead and take more. Go and take more product. Well, we just monitor the things that are, we have very few items of, like our dairy, our produce, and our meat. Those are the most things that are expensive items,
yes,
right?
and that's interesting because you don't always get those fresh produce and meat items at pantries.
Right.
So tell us, like, today a truck is coming.
Right.
And what's going to be on that truck? Because there's going to be a whole lot more than this.
Yeah. Basically, we get anywhere between, I would say, 8 pallets of food to 14 pallets of food. I think we're expecting today over 800 pounds of produce, roughly about 600 to 700 pounds of meat. We get more pantry items each week. I think we're at about 250 items that we give out. So they have a wide range of choices. We also see some miscellaneous boxes, and those are kind of fun to open because they have all the different little pantry items that you wouldn't normally see out there.
Where is this all coming from? Are you funding it? Are you getting donations? How could someone donate?
So we're partnered with Feeding America, and we do need donations in order to keep our pantry rolling each week. Roughly, we have about 415 people that visit our pantry. We're talking 215 kids.
So if someone wanted to donate, how would they do that?
They can go directly to our website, which is www.sewiesg.org, and there's a donate button. We also need help every week. We need volunteer help as well.
So how would we sign up to volunteer? Same place?
Same place. Go to my website. There's a tab for volunteers, and you can see a little bit more about what we do and a little bit about our story and how we started. I started the first week the pandemic hit here, and I found a few friends that were in need, and I made homemade spaghetti. That's how it all started.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that part.
I made 10 portions of homemade spaghetti and delivered them to a few families. It was friends of friends, and it just kind of grew. At maximum, I was doing about 35 families every single week. I would go out and shop and actually purchase the items in my cart. And so if you see me down the aisles, I wasn't hoarding food. I was purchasing food for 35 families. And so I had my cart full of food each week. And people would look at me, and I'm like, I wanted to wear signs like, I'm not hoarding food. I'm buying for others.
That's true, because no one would think that you're actually giving.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right. And
wow.
Especially going to 4 different stores and trying to find the cheapest, place to find peanut butter or the basic stuff. and my car couldn't take it any longer, and hauling that many groceries for that many families. So that's when I decided to kind of grow and kind of help out other people. So we've been doing this since March of 2020. So
Wow, that's amazing. That's a great story.
yeah, and each week we're giving about anywhere between 6,000 pounds of food to 7,000 pounds of food each week. So
So about how many families is that?
it's about, I would say, 90 to 110. We do have some families that come each week. They're able to stop in if they don't register. They register directly through our website. And basically they choose a time frame that they wish to come.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
we limit how many people are going to come, because we can't expect all of them to come through our lines each week.
Right.
It would be very hard. We learned the hard way in that.
Just got a system in place now.
Yeah, so we limit how many time slots we are able, and then we kind of have this open pantry towards the end. We also give all our food out to other nonprofits in the area.
So if there's leftovers, you have somewhere it's going?
Yeah, exactly. So we help like the Hope Center, we help out Misfits for Jesus, we help out other nonprofits with all the extra produce that we receive, because we don't have as much refrigerator and freezer room for all these things, and we can't keep them, for later on.
Right, and that just reduces waste too.
Right. So it's kind of we help out so many other people than just 400 people each week.
That's just amazing. I love these kind of stories, and I'm glad we could share it today. Thank you so much, Rochelle, for having me here today.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks.
I want to thank Missy for going out there and doing those interviews on the street. It's great that she's talking to all these interesting people and bringing you all this information. So this episode is brought to you by HomeWire Realty, and Missy and her team can help you find a good inspector, find a good appraiser. She's going to help you get the home of your dreams, get your offer accepted, and get a good team around you so that you can make your best decision. Join us each week for the Offer Accepted Show, a show for home buyers in a seller's market. Until then, we'll see you next week.